Now, it seems to me like an eternity since I covered the very important issue of power. We were covering it almost every day last year. And I mean baseload power, not renewable power that's sort of drop in the ocean stuff, lucky to get to about 14% of what we need each day, grossly unreliable. I mean, what next for powering the country as we try and engineer a super recovery from this pandemic? Now, Australia, up until recently, has been experiencing a population explosion, and therefore we're in need of much more baseload power than what we can generate at the moment. Well, today, Hunter Energy announced its plan to recommission its Redbank power plant in the New South Wales Hunter Valley to operate Australia's largest biomass green baseload power station. Now, biomass fuel is a major hit in Europe and uses urban and rural green waste to power regions. But because of the noise from climate alarmists surrounding renewable energy, it seems as if that's all we hear. We hear very little about biomass. Let's find out right now. Hunter Energy CEO Richard Poole joins us via Zoom. Richard, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me on, Chris.
Start by telling us very simply how biomass fuel works. What's the process?
Look, fundamentally, what we plan to use is a mixed timber. So if a tree's growing, it's going to absorb carbon dioxide, and then when we burn it, we release the carbon dioxide. So effectively, it's a closed cycle. So what you actually see is you're not adding to the carbon dioxide in the air. You're not, in the words of various people, releasing it from coal or any of those other things. So it's regarded as a net zero emission or net zero carbon dioxide emission. It's part of the Renewable Energy Act and qualifies for a large-scale generation certificate.
Okay, so where do you source the material first?
So we're hoping to source it from two spots. So where we're working with the EPA on is we want to source it from mixed timber, or it actually comes out of mixed waste, and then it becomes an uncontaminated timber waste. And that is, we've got about 300,000 to 500,000 tonnes sorted out there. And then we're also talking to New South Wales Forestry about what we can do with some of the timber that's been damaged in the recent fires. And in fact, we see biomass and bioenergy as an absolute solution to what are you going to do if the recent inquiry determines that we need to do some waste reduction in our forests. Can we use that material and turn it into something positive, being energy? And that's a way to build a huge industry.
Some of the biomass operators in Europe are being criticised for buying up tracts of agricultural land and planting their own kind of fuel and then harvesting that and taking up, important agricultural tracts. Do you intend to do any of that?
Look, we at the moment, no. We certainly
but you could.
You could look at a 3 to 4 year cycle crop if that's where everybody wanted to go, but I don't see any need to do that. There's a huge amount of biomass available today. So, Chris, I think that there is a significant number. For example, the New South Wales Forestry, just the state forests, have something like 3 million tonnes of product available now. Now, we in this operation here, which is probably going to be the 6th largest in the world, is going to burn 750,000 tonnes. So there's 4 years of product potentially lying around that we could do something with. Obviously, depending on what happens with what we do with our forests and how we utilise hazard reduction, there's a stack there, and 100% there is a significant amount of mixed or mixed timber that's available in the waste industry and being sorted out of those skips and cleaned up and being made available to turn into energy.
It's a really interesting and promising frontier, but is it also a concession that the Greenies have finally beaten you down?
Look, I think what's beating everyone down is fundamentally when we picked up this project 3 years ago, we just thought we'll restart it and then we'll graduate over to biomass and we'll manage it. With the ESG policies that are out there today, you fundamentally cannot get a fund in Australia. I mean, there are some exceptions, but the universe is small. Who will invest in a coal-fired power station such as this? Just the threat of problems just means they don't want to do it. So yes, but also the policy settings are such that actually, from our point of view, we see this as helping to solve landfill. We see it as a positive input into the community, delivering what a certain section of the community wants, and on top of that, with the LGC credits, it's a positive commercial outcome. So I think it's being driven this way, And, realistically, the stats are that the International Energy Agency is saying Australia should have 25 to 30, or could have up to 25 to 33% of its energy delivered by biomass.
Okay.
That's significant.
With the size of the country we have, I can't see why more of this can't be replicated elsewhere. All the very best with the project, Richard. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, after the break.